Put a finger down if you're an intern and you went to work today into the office, as one does, and at some point during the day you had to go to the restroom. All right, so you go in the restroom, another girl goes in after you, and then you're both doing your business as you do. All of a sudden, you hear a male voice go, "Oh my gosh, they sell tampons in here. Ha 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 ha." And you're like, why are there dudes in the bathroom? And then you clock it and you're like, okay, maybe it's just like a janitor. But then you're like, no, they would have said something like, hey, like, we need to clean. Is anyone in here? And like gave you a heads up. And these people did not do that. All of a sudden, there's like dark figures coming over to your stall, and one of them tries to open the door. And they can't because obviously it's locked because I'm sitting in there. So then they start like shaking the door, trying to open it. And I'm just like, it's happening because I don't have pants on. I'm trying to do my business. Like, why are you trying to get in my stall? Then they go over to the girl next to me and they do the same thing. And she's also just silent. You know how there's 3 modes, like freeze, fight, flight. I think we're both freeze in this. Because I was like, I don't know if they're armed. Like, my mind goes to the worst places possible. I'm like, they could have like a weapon. They could be like, why? Like, they could be trying to do like sexual assault. You know, like, why are you trying to break into a stall that a girl is in? There's just so many levels of wrong that you have crossed at this point. Eventually they leave. I wish I got the shoes, but I could not see. And I was also trying to hide from the cracks of the stall because I didn't want them to see me. It was freaky. And then you proceed to go back to your desk and you're looking for the other girl coworker that's like around your age. And she's nowhere to be seen. Oh, it's time for a meeting. We have an office-wide meeting that's an hour and a half starting right now. You don't have time to go find her or the HR lady. So you go to this meeting and you are anxious as you are fidgeting real bad because it started just weird and bizarre and speechless, and then your friends chimed in and your sister and they were like, hey, this is like really not okay, this is like illegal. So then you're like, oh, and it's like catching up to you while you're in this meeting trying to be tame, trying to be calm. Eventually the meeting ends and you're trying to go find the HR lady, but she's nowhere to be seen or she's talking with people. So then you go back to your desk and you slack her. You're like, hey girlie, like, can I meet up with you whenever you're free? Like, no worries, I just have a little incident to report. And she's like, yeah, come into my office. So I go in and I talk to her and she's like, okay, I worked in HR a while and this is one of the scarier things that's happened. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So then we take a field trip up to the 7th floor and we go spill our guts to these HR people and they're like, okay, give me your number, we're gonna try to find him on the cams. I'm like, thank you for your service. You go back to your desk and then you decide to drink an energy drink and you don't really think it through because then you really have to pee. And so you think about going to the bathroom, but you're also like seated really close to the door and you keep hearing popping noises. And of course your silly little brain thinks it's gun shootings. So you start freaking out even more, but you are so great at hiding it, nobody can tell. You proceed to go home and leave and go to the bathroom, and you really want to debrief this to your therapist, but oh, here's the kicker. She's on maternity leave for the next 12 weeks, so now you just have to suffer.
Here's why you shouldn't work at Aritzia. Let's get ready together while I tell you why I quit. This story has been extremely long overdue. I feel like I've been telling everybody that I've been telling everybody, all of my friends, that I'm gonna post a video, and then I never do. I don't know why. But it's time for the slander. I'm not usually a hater, but this place actually destroyed me. So we're gonna talk shit today. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. I started working at Aritzia around this time last year. I went through the whole hiring process. I think it was all of May, and then June we were supposed to open, and then it just kept dragging. So let's start from there. First of all, the hiring process. Who is that extra? There's like, I think it's 2 different interviews that you have to go through, and then you get a call. If you get a call, you got the job. If you don't get a call, you didn't get the job. But no, they make it a huge deal because they know all the bitches want to work at Aritzia. I will have to say, I did get pretty lucky with the girls that interviewed me. They were so nice. It was one girl that was like 23, 24, and then there was an older lady. Whatever, my interview went great. Obviously, I got the job. Then they tell us that the store is going to open at the end of May. Doesn't happen. I'm like, all right, sometimes there's delays in this shit. Like, I understand. 2 months later, we open in like July or something. I'm like, all right, well, the whole summer I didn't work because I quit my past job because I really wanted to work at Aritzia. So I was like, I'm going to give this place all my time. Like, I want to be available whenever they need me because I was one of those girls that was like, I need to work at Aritzia. So there's that. The opening was delayed, which was so inconvenient for so many of the girls because obviously not all of us live 5 minutes away and can be like, you know. So they started on a bad note already. Continuing on. Once you're a new employee, they're going to give you like a time to shop the store for like a really decent discount. So we had a day to shop 70% off. And I live with my parents over the summer. So I was an hour and a half away from the store. And they would tell us last minute, literally maybe an hour before, that they're switching the day of like when we get to go in and shop. Like, I would literally get all dolled up, like ready to go, like so excited to go shopping for the whole day with all these new fun girls. And then they'd be like, sorry, we're not doing that today. They did that 4 times. 4 times. Then finally, our store opening day comes, and we get 30 minutes before the store opens to shop for ourselves. And then after that, we only got a week to, like, still use the 70 discount because I guess they, like, felt bad or whatever. I guess it was, like, still considerate of them to give us another week, but I was just like, oh my god, like, it was just frustrating. Whatever, that time goes by. This is gonna be a long one, just warning you. So, the summer comes to an end, and obviously I'm in college, so my availability has to change, and I let my manager know. And if you guys don't know, the way that things work at Aritzia is basically the more you sell, the more you get scheduled. Let me know how you feel about that. Over the summer, I was getting all of these insane hours because our store just opened. It just opened, so obviously everybody's getting the sales that they need. Everybody's getting the hours that they need. Like it was actually crazy how much money I was making. So obviously we start on a really good high note. Then the school year starts, my availability changes, and it's not that I was like, I can only work 1 day a week. I gave them open weekends 3 times a week, and I'm a design student, so like, I don't have that much time on my hands, but I still gave it to them because I was like, I want to work here. Like, I was so pumped and I was so excited. Then my classes start, and obviously people, like, the vibe of, like, the store opening, like, kind of starts going away, like, you know. Eventually, your girl here starts losing hours, and I'm like, all right, what the fuck? And I'm literally getting scheduled once a month, and not even for, like, a 9 to 6 or like a long shift where I could like make a decent amount of money. No, I was getting scheduled from 4 to 9 p.m. And then these bitches know how to get you so bad that on the days that I would have something and I would literally be putting in, I can't come in, they would schedule me for a 10-hour shift. They just slowly know when to start getting rid of people. Continuing this in part 2. This is part 2 as to why you should not work at Aritzia. They slowly start realizing, I don't know if this is all my brain, but like it was just so obvious that they knew that some girls were going to be like, this isn't going to work for me. And they slowly start like nitpicking at the little things that are going to make them like just quit. Unfortunately, I was one of them, but you know what, whatever. So yeah, I was getting scheduled 1 time a month for the shortest shift ever. I'm sorry. I would get scheduled on a Tuesday from 4 to 9, and they expected me to do at least $300 per hour. And if you're from the Tampa area and you've been to the International Plaza, that shit is dead during the week. So anyways, I would get no sales and I wouldn't get scheduled. And then the worst part was bitches would pull robberies. So if you guys don't know how it works, you basically have your little cards at Aritzia and they have your name on them and your little your styling one number, whatever, I forget what it's called. And then whenever you see someone walk in, you have to basically harass them and be like, hey, can I take your stuff for you? Hey, can I take your stuff for you? Hey, what are you shopping for? Hey. So if bitches do that to you at Aritzia, now you know why. It's because they want to get the sale. Because if you don't get the sale, you don't make money, you don't get scheduled, and then you're fucked. And that's when the drama would come in, because somebody would walk in, you would take their stuff, they would be your client, and then other girls would come up to them, and they would see that there's stuff in their hands, and they would take it, and be like, this is my client. And you'd be like, no, bitch, I took their stuff before, don't. And I don't think I said this, but I was a styling advisor, so that's like, you are the meat. Like, you are the meat. They're styling advisors, and then, what is it? Senior style advisor or something, which is like the people that make commission. And some of these bitches, I kid you not, they were out for blood. Like, they did not care that you were a fresh little person doing what you know best to do. Like, they wouldn't give a fuck. They'd be like, I'd be here longer. I'm so frustrated I can't even talk. They would be literally like sharks and you were a minnow. Like, they would actually be like, I don't give a fuck, like, I'm taking the sale. There was really nice SSAs though, like hearts to some of them. Yeah, bitches would pull robberies, steal your sale, then you'd be pissed off because you're helping someone for so long just for someone else to take your sale, and then you don't get scheduled, and then you hate your life. Next, managers. I will have to say, there was a couple managers that I loved, no hate to all of them, but some others, oh my god, like, I literally get like anxious and like fluttery and like hot just like thinking about it, because I'm like, you were such a bitch. If you needed help, eye roll. If you didn't sell, eye roll. They would say they were trying to help you. What? They would literally say, well, you know, just keep trying. People will come in. People will come in. Right. Like, help me by telling Christy over there that that's my sale and that she shouldn't have sold it for me. Oh, well, you know, it seems like she's been working with her for a while, so let's just try and find you someone else. No, I couldn't even tell you how many times girls would steal my sales, and because, like, I honestly stopped caring because I was like, my life is not Aritzia. Like, I am gonna find another job. Like, this isn't my full-time job. Like, this is my college money. Like, I'm gonna use these $20 an hour for a fucking car bomb on Saturday. But first to pay off my car. Anyway, let me give you a short little story. There was one instance where it was a battle of the sale. The client is so nice. Like, I love her. Clearly, her and I click. But she has around maybe like $2,000 worth of stuff like in her hand. And I go up to her, we connect like crazy. She is so nice. Like, I'm putting her in the fitting room, she's trying on all this stuff. I'm not annoying the shit out of her. She needs something, I'll go get it for her. Like, I'm checking on her every like 10 minutes because I'm sorry, if you're checking on someone that like, leave her alone. All of a sudden, this one girl that worked there that was younger than me, I'm 21 about to be 22. This girl was 18. Let's just think about that. She stole the fucking sale. She stole the sale right from under me. None of the managers did anything. And when I told them about it, they went up to her and they talked to her. She knew what she did was wrong. She started crying. She started crying to my managers. So of course they feel bad for her and they're like, oh, just like give her the sale. We'll find you another one. That was my breaking point. Literally, I think 2 weeks after that, I quit. The favoritism was insane. And do not try getting a day off because 1, you probably won't get it. And 2, if you do get it, you will never be scheduled again. And just to be ridiculously transparent, I talked to my manager about this. Couldn't even tell you how many times. I would say, listen, I have bills to pay. Like, if you guys aren't going to help me, like, I'm gone. Like, I'll try and find something else, like, whatever. She would promise me that she would try. She would do X, Y, and Z, whatever. Did I ever get more hours? No. I got to a point where my father had to get involved because if you guys don't know, there's a thing called Gasparilla here in Tampa, and I tried to ask off for that day, like, I think, like, a week before, and they wouldn't let me. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna quit anyway. I don't care. So I told, like, my head manager the day before, I was like, hey, I found someone to cover my shift for this Saturday. Like, I'm not gonna come in or whatever. And then she was like, well, you've taken off, like, every single time that we've scheduled you. I'm sorry. I'm asking for more hours. Why would I take off on the days that you're scheduling me? This girl whips out a sheet of every time that I've been scheduled. She's like, these are the days that you took off. She highlighted the dates. I went down, like, where my name is, like, on the schedule. I wasn't scheduled on the days that she says that I took off. Not even, like, scratched off, like, nothing, like, blank. Not a number, not hours, like, nothing. I was like, am I going crazy? Like, am I going crazy? This is where I had to involve my dad. Because I was like, there's no way this is real. Go to part 3. Part 3 of why you shouldn't work at Aritzia. I'm not kidding. I'm arguing with this woman back and forth at 9 p.m. the day before Gasparilla. And I'm like, babe, I'm not coming in. If you want to fire me, I quit before you fire me. But, like, just let it go. Like, I'm not coming in. She wouldn't accept it. She wouldn't accept it. And if you don't know, Gasparilla is on a Saturday. So I professionally, because I've worked so many jobs that I'm like, babe, you're not talking to a 4-year-old. I text her, if you want to figure this out and if you want to talk about this, I had a scheduled shift on Sunday. I was like, I will gladly talk to you about it on Sunday during my shift, after my shift, before my shift, let me know. She goes, yeah, let's talk about it Sunday, whatever. Yes, I told her I was sick. Let me fucking live my life. Don't pretend like you haven't done it before. It got to a point where I had to lie to her. I had to be like, oh, I think I had the flu. Still wouldn't budge. Still wouldn't budge. So anyways, we agreed to have this conversation on Sunday. Sunday comes about. She doesn't show. It literally, I'm like standing there, I'm like breathing. I'm like, it's gonna be okay. Like if I quit, I quit. Like what's meant to be, what's meant to be. Like it's not a big deal. I'm freaking the fuck out. I walk into my shift. I'm like, this motherfucker ain't here. I go up to my one manager that I actually really like. And I'm like, hey, is blank like here? She's like, no, she's off on Sundays. Oh! I tell her the situation and she's like, oh, fuck. No one knew what to do. So I was like, HR. So that's what I did. Reached out to HR and I was like, this girl, blah, 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 told them the whole story. Got on a Zoom call. They were like, how can we help you? I was like, well, this girl doesn't know how to manage her people. She sucks. She won't let me take a day off. She won't give me hours. Like, how many things do I have to tell you? And they were like, we're so sorry for this horrible experience. We will talk to her. They talked to her. My next shift, which was a month later, she comes up to me and she's like, I wish you would have just like told me, you know? I'm sorry. What? I'm like, I was here on Sunday and you weren't here. None of the managers knew what to do, so I went to the higher power. I'm so sorry. And from then, she stopped scheduling me. She never gave me hours. She wouldn't respond to my texts. So I quit. Because fuck that place. And props to the girls that still work there. I don't know how you do it. But now I have a big girl job and I'm making so much more money. So screw them. I still shop there because I love the brand. I've had their stuff like forever. I've been shopping there since I was like a freshman in high school. So like obviously I'm gonna still shop there, but I just do not support what they do. And can you believe after I quit, I sent the perfect message. They sent me a farewell survey. I'm sorry. 0.5 star out of 5. I sent them a massive paragraph in every single one of the questions that they asked me. Like, why are you sending me a farewell? Like, bye. Like, just leave. Like, block me. So, yeah. So stupid. So dumb. What a waste of my time. But yeah, that's why you shouldn't work at Aritzia. It sucks. It's horrible. Horrible, 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 horrible. But yeah. That's my horror story. That's my nightmare. I hope y'all enjoyed, because I know I didn't. Bye!
Let me tell you about the most toxic job I've ever had. I literally only lasted like 1 week, not even. There were red flags from the start, okay? And girls, we all know we love to ignore the red flags, but don't. It's like a group interview and it was just so bizarre. The things and tasks and like activities we had to do, it did not even describe our experience or our personalities well. It was just the weirdest interview ever, and that was the first red flag, let me tell you. A couple days before the store actually opened, I had to go in with another co-worker and like help set up the store, so we had to like sort out the clothing racks and things like that. I remember that day there were people from like other management things like that were connected to the business that were coming in, and they just all looked so angry and they weren't very friendly. Like the vibes were just off, and now looking back I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so obvious. So my first shift that I ever had there technically was the opening day. I'm pretty sure there were some sort of rules about like what you had to wear. Like you had to wear, I think it was like at least one piece of clothing from the brand or something, but because it was the first week, like I literally didn't own anything from the brand. I remember I wore a pair of like white linen pants, like it all looked really nice. I had like a white top on, so I looked very formal, and I wore a grey blazer, and this blazer was literally like an op shop blazer, but it was like really cute. Like it looked really formal. And you guys, I kid you not, when I walk in, the manager looks me up and down, and I walk in, I'm feeling so confident. I am a very anxious person. I walked in, I felt so confident, I felt so cute. I was like ready for the opening day. I was like, you know what, I've got this new job, new experiences. I felt so confident, and as soon as I walked in, the manager literally went to me, and oh my gosh, my confidence was just like And also something to note, we had never been trained prior to this opening day, so I walked in confident, but I had no idea what I was going to do because we did not receive one bit of training. Look, I worked in retail for 6 years. I worked at TK Maxx, by the way, if you didn't know, so I know what retail can be like. I think they probably just assumed like we would know what to do, but this style of like retail was more like boutique, like one-on-one shopping, whereas I was used to like a big department store, like say Kmart, Target, kind of like that style, and all the other workers were kind of the same like background as well, so we had not received one bit of training. So I can wing it, you know, and you're going in, this is like a different style of retail, but they had given us zero training, and these expectations that the managers and people within the company had were insane. Okay, let me just say that. And I know that everyone has KPIs and things that they need to follow, but this was absolutely ridiculous. So to put all these experiences briefly into a quick story time, basically at the start I got put in like the fitting room, so I had to make sure that customers were going in with like a certain amount, and I was like basically trying to upsell them so that they would buy more clothes. I'm standing there and I'm like, you know, like, what are you shopping for? And like I'm like, oh, this dress or this this dress, and I'm like bringing multiple items of clothing for them to try on to try and upsell. With most of the customers, they were pretty much all coming in and like shopping for dresses and things, so I would come in with like a couple of different dress options and be like, oh, this dress would look beautiful, you know, like I was freaking killing it, if I do say so myself. Apparently not. This manager pulls me aside. The way that she pulled me aside was so horrible, like, and all the other co-workers could obviously like hear and see what was going on. Like, I didn't get taken out the back, I was basically like just pulled around the corner so customers and things could hear. Basically said I needed to stop recommending dresses and like start building outfits, so like a top, pair of pants and some accessories to, you know, get that money basically. And I'm trying my hardest, right? So I'm like, you know, upselling again, and she pulls me aside and she's like, I'm gonna put you on the floor, like you can greet customers and things. And I'm like, okay, like thank you, like I'm being so like grateful, and I'm like, yep, I take this feedback on board, like I'm going to change it. And you're greeting the customers, you know, as they walk in, I have to be like, hi, how are you, like what are you shopping for today, and you know, just kind of like get to know them. I think I'm doing it really well again, but apparently not. The manager pulls me aside again, and the manager basically says like, you know, you're not following them around, you're not like getting to know them enough. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm harassing these customers already, so now I have to like take it up to 100%, and that is just not like me. It's not in my bones. I felt so awkward, but I'm like, okay, thank you, like will do. Gonna get onto it. I know as a customer myself, I know when I'm just shopping and browsing, I don't like it when workers are harassing me. I'm literally harassing these customers, and I'm like following them because the manager is watching me like this, and I'm like, oh my god. It's such a hostile, horrible environment. Like I felt like I was constantly being watched. I was never doing enough. I was never selling enough basically. Don't even get me started on the back room. Like when it was our break, we had to sit basically on cold concrete. There was no fridge, no microwave. I guess it was a new store, so like they still had some things to fix and like get. I hope that eventually they got fridges and microwaves, because I had to buy lunch, or I had to bring an esky brick and like sit on the cold floor and eat my cold lunch. And literally 2 people could fit in that room. So if someone needed to come out the back to get like clothing stock, I had to help them because I was eating my lunch and I had to like help them find the clothing. It was just not good at all. I remember I did like a Friday like 9 to 5 shift, and it was horrible. I remember going to the bathroom and crying. The manager was just so horrible. I just did not want to be there anymore. I remember that night, like after we closed up, she was like, I'll see you tomorrow, and I was like, yep, but I knew that I was never coming back. I emailed my resignation that night, and people like slowly started dying off. Like nobody wanted to work there. It was so bad. I just knew that I had to get out there as soon as possible because it was not good for me mentally. You know, I'm not gonna say the retail place, but it's a popular Australian clothing brand. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay.
My daughter's eating her food, watching her favorite show. I'm in the bathroom having my alone time, and I want to get on here and talk about the time where I trusted an Indeed advertisement and it brought me to a sketchy warehouse where I'm pretty sure human trafficking was going on, and I was paid to quit and keep my mouth shut. Let's get into it. Mind you, this happened almost a year and a half ago, and I haven't said anything because the situation still kind of gives me the creeps. But in this day and age, we all on social media, we all on Indeed, we all on Snag a Job trying to find these jobs that are supposed to be reputable, but sometimes they're just not. Sometimes they're sketchy, and you always need to follow your intuition no matter what. This is one of the times where I did not follow my intuition. Let's get into it. So I found an ad on Indeed, and it was an advertisement for a warehouse job. And I'm thinking, okay, do I really want to be a robot for 8 to 12 hours a day? Well, no, but I'm going to be a paid robot making $24 an hour. Yeah, I want that. So I applied for it, and literally within minutes, I got a call to come in for an interview, and I was hyped. So when I got there, it was absolutely nothing like I expected. First off, location was already off, like real sketchy type. Like the warehouse was in the cut. It wasn't like you would think a warehouse would look like or where it would be located. No, it was literally in the cut of somebody else's house, but like up 3 flights of stairs, and it was weird. When I finally got up to the warehouse, there was another girl, so I'm thinking, oh my God, we're about to do a group interview. Hella anxiety now. So when we met the person that was interviewing us, or supposed to, he didn't even interview us. He just like asked what our names was, asked how old we were, and then told us to go pick and pack the shelves. Basically like a trial run. But as I'm doing my trial run, I'm looking around and I'm realizing like there's only females that work here. And it's the same kind of aesthetic. Like the females all kind of have the same look to them. I definitely did not fit the aesthetic. Like I looked very different from them. Anyway, I was really nervous also during the trial run because I was like, oh God, like I don't have that much experience with warehousing, and this other girl is probably going to get this job. Like I'm not the fastest picker, I'm not the fastest packer. But we ended up both getting the job, and I was really hype about it. The other girls were not, and they made it well known. But it was whatever because I was just there for my check, you know what I'm saying? I want my money and I'm finna work and go home and that's it. Here I am minding my business, and then someone comes up to me and tells me that I need to cover up. Like for part 2.
That's okay, sis, because part 2 found you. So this is part 2 of my Indeed horror story, where I found an ad on Indeed that took me to a very sketchy warehouse where sketchy things were going on and schmexual allegations were involved. If you haven't watched part 1, click on this comment and it is linked to my video. Okay, so let's get into it. I left off at a coworker coming up to me telling me that I needed to cover up. Mind you, I asked if there was a dress code. The manager told me no. He said that you can wear leggings, sweatpants, t-shirts. The only thing you can't wear is short shorts, mini skirts, and tank tops. I said, cool, no problem. I had leggings on with a loose fitting regular t-shirt, and like I brought like a sweatshirt in case I got cold. So when she came up to me, and this is like the lady in like HR or whatever, when she came up to me and told me that I needed to cover up and I was being distracting because I asked her, I was like, why do I need to cover up? Because I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, well, she's in a tank top, she's in sweatpants, but she has like this crop top on, and y'all ain't say nothing to either of them, so I'm confused. I'm like, what are you guys getting distracted from? Like my elbows? Like what? So yeah, I obviously was like, okay, like what is with the body shaming? Because these girls were really skinny and I'm not, okay? I have curves, I have assets, and I'm proud of them. But I was not like with my boobs out. I didn't have like see-through pants on or like, you know, short shorts. Like it's leggings and a freaking regular t-shirt. Make it make sense. So yeah, she answers me by saying, oh, we don't want to be distracting to others, you know, maybe you should just cover up, you know, it's not really like a fashion show. So I go to the manager who hired me and I tell him what just went down. And he tells me all the tea. He tells me that this happens all the time. He's not surprised. You know, they get really jealous. They're very catty. Like, you know, they're always like fighting over his attention. And they apparently think that he is going to put all of his attention on me because of what I look like. And I'm like, I mean, I asked him, I was like, I mean, is that something that you do? Like, have you done that in the past? And he was like, no, but they've always assumed that I have. Like, I'm married, I have kids. I'm like, oh, okay, so, okay. So, yeah, I am thinking, okay, well, maybe they really are just body shaming me because, you know, I'm the only curvy black girl in the workplace. So I'm like, okay, like, they're just being, like, bitches, basically. So he's being supportive and he's like, oh yeah, like you can wear whatever you want, just not like the things that we talked about. I'm like, okay, cool. I just wanted to confirm. So the next day I came in, basically same thing. You know what I'm saying? And I was getting dirty looks left and right. Mind you, he comes up to me that day and tells me, oh, like, you know, that other girl that interviewed with you, she has a family member that works here and they're pissed off that I hired you because they don't feel like you have any work experience to work here and that I only hired you off my looks. I'm like, oh my God, like here we fucking go. Like if you didn't think that I was qualified for the job, I would have rather you not hire me and I'll go find something else. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so now they're pissed off because they hired me because of the way I look. Like, so then here's the thing. I go home and, you know, he told me and that girl who did the interview with me to put his number in our phones because that's how we're going to communicate in regards to like shift changes, call offs, information that's needed, whatever. So I get a text message from him saying that basically they fired him because there was some kind of allegations going on. And I didn't really understand, so I was like, okay, but he didn't like get specific. So the next day I come into the office and boy, I get called into the office and they tell me that HR wants to speak to me. And this isn't like the HR lady that came up. This is HR because apparently they were based in California. So he calls me on my cell phone and he starts asking me questions about the manager. And he's like, you know, has he ever touched you? Has he ever made you feel uncomfortable? Has he ever done this? Has he ever done that? Like, and I'm like, no, no. Like, where is this coming from? And I was like, if anything, if anyone's made me feel uncomfortable here, it's been the girls because they've just been, you know, body shaming me, giving me dirty looks, being very rude, very bitchy. Like, you really need to handle that. Anyway, so basically when I said that, they like kind of like brushed it under the rug. Like, they were like, you know, oh, well, we just wanted to make sure that he didn't do this or he didn't do that. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go upstairs and I'm pissed. So I go right into that HR office there and I'm like, we all need to have a meeting. I need y'all to call every single employee in here because everybody want to say shit behind my back. Let's say it to my face. So we call a meeting and I stand up there and I said, listen, I'm hearing rumors about what I'm wearing, what I look like. I'm hearing body shaming going on. And now I'm hearing there's been schmexual allegations against manager when he didn't do anything to me. So what's tea? Then everything starts to unravel. Basically, they tell me that on day one, they knew what it was going to be because apparently there was a worker before me who looked similar to me, had a similar body type, and the manager who got fired, there was a sexual assault case and it completely ruined the company. And apparently there were some things that were done, things that were said. And I guess when they saw me, they wanted to prevent that because they saw the way that he was looking at me when I wasn't looking. They saw the way that he was like following me around. Apparently, he also went up to a couple of them and said how he had a plan that he was going to FUCK me. So I'm just sitting there like, damn, Alabama. And apparently when they came up to me and like they said, that girl said, you know, oh, like, you know, you need to cover up. She was saying it more so to protect me, even though like I wasn't in anything crazy though. Like that's the crazy part. But like that's what she said that she was saying it because of. So, you know, conversations had, days over, I go home and I get a text message from HR in Cali. And Cali HR is talking about, we don't think you're a good fit for the team, but we don't want you to say anything about anything that's happened about the case or anything that he may or may not have been doing. So we want to pay you, name your price, and you can quit quietly. Now, at the time, I was going through some things, so I said, give me double my paycheck and I'll quit tonight. And they did. They really gave me double my paycheck. And then like 2 hours after that, the manager who got fired texts me and goes, good news, they just called me. They want me to come back. And then the next day I get another text message from him saying, where are you? What happened? I just heard that you got fired. So yeah, that's my Indeed horror story. I never will just trust another ad on any job site again. I would suggest that you do your research. I would also suggest that you pay attention to the environment. And if you get an automatic weird ass feeling, do not ignore your intuition. And, you know, especially as women, we need to be safe out here. And even, look at Diddy, even as men, y'all need to be safe out here. So like, just pay attention, y'all. And, it's crazy because when you search up that warehouse that I worked at, it doesn't come up. It's like it never existed. Be safe, stay woke, stay dangerous.
So I have a work horror story for you. My first job out of college, I was working as an assistant stylist and social media manager at a clothing company in Utah. And this company was ran by two sisters. Now, the work environment was rough, but I loved the job. Like, I loved the content of the job, just like the culture was really hard. And when I tell this to people, they're like, well, what do you mean? And then I tell them this beautiful story. So we had just wrapped a shoot in LA, and we were at a Starbucks. When I say we, I mean me, the head stylist, and one of the sisters who owned the company. And we're just chatting, and the sister, one of the owners, she had quite a bit of plastic surgery. She had lost a lot of weight. Like, she looked great. I have no judgment. If you want to get plastic surgery, if you want to do these things, like, slay. Love that for you. But also say, I was talking about how I had broken my nose when I was young, when I was playing basketball. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to get a nose job. And tell me why. The sister looks me in the eyes and she goes, oh, you don't need a nose job. You just need to lose 15 to 20 pounds. Ma'am, okay, like, maybe I do, but like, why are you telling me that? You're the boss. Anyways, there's a lot of other traumatic stuff that happened at that job, but that was probably the worst. I just kind of tried to laugh it off and be like, yeah, I guess so, like, and anyways, it was fine, but it was so awkward. And yeah, that was just kind of I feel like that was a really good story to explain the culture at that job, and I left shortly after, but yeah. There's my work horror story. I have not lost the 15 to 20 pounds.
To prevent me from crashing out real bad right now, I'm going to explain to you the work drama. I told y'all I wasn't going to come and explain to y'all because I'm like, oh, what if they see my TikTok? Don't care. This is my personal diary. So if you find my TikTok, you're digging and you really want to know my life. So, oh well. So, here's the tea, okay? I got hired at my daughter's school. I cook. Very simple. It works with her hours. I can't find nothing else that don't work with her schedule, okay? I have to go with what my daughter is doing. So I work at her school. I cook. Very simple. Easy. When I got hired, okay, I got asked, do you want the management position or do you just want to be a cook? I purposely picked my daughter's school, okay? Because my daughter, she's working through some things. And I want to be close to her. Unfortunately, her school did not have a management position. So I'm stuck in this low-level position dealing with people above me who have issues with me, like always. People always have a fucking problem with me because I don't kiss ass and I'm blunt. And if you give me a shitty-ass attitude, I give you that shitty-ass attitude back. So, when I went to my orientation meeting, the topic of nails, fake nails came up. And I was told, because a question was asked, can we have French tip nails? It was made clear to my brain that we can have French tip nails, okay? So I went and got French tip nails like 2 weeks ago, okay? French tip nails. I'm thinking, in the orientation meeting, they said French tip nails, right? No, I'm mistaken. Apparently, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, I guess. So I go into work, The person above me comes up to me immediately, like, you can't have those. I'm like, they're already approved. Like, I wouldn't get something I think is wrong or is going to stir the pot in a workplace that is already giving me, like, the ick, okay? So I'm like, they're already approved. She's like, no, that's their policy. This is our policy. I'm like, what? Y'all hired me. They hired me. So how is this not the same policy? You know? All right. So these are my nails now. Okay. I got them manicured. I didn't just completely have my nasty nails showing for a wedding. No, I did get them manicured and my nails are very brittle. They break off. So she was like, I could put the powder on, shape it. She put the powder on and shaped it. Okay. This is what they look like. Manicured. Because I have a wedding to attend, okay? I get into work today, okay? I get into work. I didn't even get a chance to clock in. The first thing out this woman's mouth, you need to leave. You need to leave. I said, why? She said, your nails, you need to leave. I said, I took off the French tip. I got them manicured. It is a powder, but it's not paint. Like, I got them manicured and I got them shaped. Like, what's the problem now? What's the issue? Like, we don't wear gloves 24/7. What's the issue? So she's like, it's a fake tip. I'm like, in order for my nail to break off, somebody's gonna have to literally slice my finger off. Like, it's not a tip that comes off. It's not a tip. I'm telling her, it's a powder, and the lady was like, this is gonna make your nail strong. It's not gonna break off if you do, you know. So I'm telling her, I might be telling her aggressively, because I'm like, at this point, I'm sick of your shit. Like, you already have a personal issue with me because of how I came in. I get it. You feel like I'm stepping on your toes because you're not a great manager. You're not about teamwork. You're not about morale. Like, everyone walks around droopy. When I got there, everyone was like to themselves and quiet. When I got in there, I guess I was doing things that made her, feel, I don't know, weird. She had this whiteboard that one of the people I work with told me they never used. Like, for 3 weeks straight, no one ever used it. I brought some expo markers in from work, and I started doing quote of the day, because I used to do that. We used to do that at my old job, and I'm like, that is so, something to look forward to when you come in. Ooh, what's the quote of the day? I had the coworkers telling me, oh, that's so cute. Like, who did that? Da, 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 da. I took a picture of it. She sees it. The person above me, she sees it. She looks at it. She asked me, where did you get an expo marker from? I said, at home. I said, I'm extra. I brought it from home. And that's all she says about it. She walks away. And I know she felt some type of way about me doing that little thing, because the next day when I wrote my quote, she wiped it off in the morning and wrote a nasty message about inventory on it. Right? So she has this issue with me because when I got there, it seemed like she was bullying our coworkers. She was bullying our coworkers around. She was screaming. She was talking to them any type of way. And that's not me. That is not me. I'm not going to let you scream at me. I'm not going to let you bully me. It's not happening. I give the same energy back. I do. That's just what I do. And that's why a lot of times people don't like me. So I feel like when I came into work today, she was just searching. She was searching for a reason. So then, after she told me to leave, she smacked this paper down on the desk. I grabbed the paper and I left. I read the paper. It is an email between her and HR, and it's a couple. It's their conversation on here. You put the conversation of you and HR, the woman who unknowingly approved my French tips. You put her conversation in here too. So now I have to go to HR. I emailed HR, actually. She's not in the office, but I'm about to pull up, because unknowingly I have your side of the conversation now, where you're saying, oh, maybe she forgot. Or if she uses the excuse of nobody told her, maybe remind her of the policy. She definitely got told about the policies. No, I didn't. The problem is, you told me one thing when the rules might have been this. And now somebody's trying to cover their behind, which is unfair to me. But this is what my nails look like right now. It's Thursday. I'm scheduled for work. I told HR in the email, go ahead and let them know I'm not coming to work tomorrow because I don't have the funds to redo them. I'm out $140 because I changed them from the French tip to go to this. I'm not doing it again. It's just not, no, I'm not doing it again. So yeah, also in the email thread, the person above me had the option to send me home or not. Like, she could have kept me and just, I wear gloves 24/7 anyways. It wouldn't have mattered. She could have kept me, but the fact she has this personal thing against me, I already feel it, whatever the case. She don't like my personality because I won't let her step on me. Like, that's basically what it is. So she had the choice of keeping me there or sending me home if it didn't affect the team, basically. Now, she chose to send me home. The kitchen is small. There's not that many workers there. There's only like 4 of us that actually work, okay? Me going home impacts, it definitely does shake up the kitchen because it's not that many of us. The people that are already in there be stressed, okay? They be stressed out. So the fact that she, I don't know, was on a power trip so bad that you sent me home when you could have just given me my written notice and kept me. I'm a worker, baby. Like, you could give me my notice and I'm not going to be walking around with a funky attitude. I'm going to work. So these are my nails. Woo! I'm not gonna lie, my nails are pretty though. And yeah, if you see this, girl, don't. Please block yourself. All right, here's the update that everybody is looking for. Also, my comments are back on just for this update. I had to turn my comments off because the few rotted brain people in here who are like trying to switch it up and be like, you're doing this, you're being combative, you're whatever. Like, you're a kid's ass at your job, and if somebody was bullying you at work, you would just roll over and take that shit. That's what type of person you are. Anyhow, I have a strong personality, so I can't be bullied. So my fucking fault about that. Like, oh well. I went to HR, sat down. She was like, what do you want to do about your nails? I'm like, hey, like, I will respect, if I walked into work and she approached me and said, hey, let's take a look at this policy. Let's go through it. Let's get you to understand it. And, let me give you a written warning. Let's sign it. Put on some gloves, go to work, and figure out when you can take the nails off. But I said she did not do that. I walked in, and she directed me to leave with no explanation on why I was leaving. Then I asked why I was telling HR, I had to ask her why I was dismissed from work. And she was like, she didn't tell you? And I was like, no, she told me to leave. So I said that there's a level of professionalism that needs to be had when you're a manager, and she does not have it. Like, I'm telling her, I respect the policy if the policy says this. But at the end of the day, I got it to begin with because me and my coworkers believed that at our orientation, we were told that we could have this and that and that and this. And she was like, well, we'll definitely, do like a group thing where we go over the policy, which I'm like, perfectly fine. I said, well, let me know what the nail policy is now. The nail policy is for y'all can't have color. Y'all can't have this. I work in food service and we can't do that. That is not true for me. She said the color is fine. She said you can have a natural color on your nail or you can have clear. The issue with my nails is I guess that it has that powder overlay on it. That's fine. I said, so if I take this powder off and my nails look exactly like this, my natural nail looks like this, is that okay? She said yes. So I just told her, I spent $70 for French tips, $70 to change it to this. So my plan is when I get paid, I will, well, not the pay coming up, but like the next one after. So November 1st, I said November 1st, I can definitely go ahead and get my nails changed. I'm going to write that up in email, send it to her. That way there is documentation of it. And that is it. That is all. I said, I respect, when somebody comes up to me and they explain things to me appropriately. And if she would have taken steps 1, 2, and 3 with me, I would have respected that so much more. But the passive aggressiveness at work and the unprofessionalism from a manager who is supposed to be directing me in the right directions and teaching me instead of just dismissing me with no explanation, with no policy for me to go over, like, that is inappropriate and that is just not professional at all. I don't care how anybody swings it, it is not professional. And if you feel like it's professional, it's because you're also a terrible manager. So yeah, that's how it went. So at the end of the day, my natural nails are still gonna look like this, y'all, and it's gonna be accepted. So
a lady called customer service on me because I wouldn't let her use my pen. She was making a return and had to sign her receipt, so I put a pen within her reach. But she decided to reach into my personal space and workstation to grab my personal pen. So I said, oh, there's a pen right there for you. And she said, no, I don't want to use that pen. I want to use that pen. And continued to reach into my personal space. So I picked up my pen and held it. She asked me why she couldn't use it, and I said, because this is my personal pen. And she said that she refused to sign unless she could use this specific pen. So I said, okay, no problem. Have a nice day. And she continued to hold her hand out for my personal pen. And she looked at the pen that I had set out for her and said, I have no idea where that pen has been. I want to use that one. So I said, well, you actually have no idea where this pen has been either, and if you cared about where pens have been, you would have your own personal pen for situations like these like I do. She continued to question me about my pen, and granted, in the bigger scheme of things, did I really care if she used the pen? Not really, but you've disrespected me multiple times and you're crossing my boundaries. So no, you can't use this pen. Unfortunately, per my job, I do have to call her and apologize, but at least I get to live with the satisfaction that she will never ever ever get to use this pen. And it's a good pen, by the way. It's pink, it's soft, it clicks nice, it has the little stylus thing at the top, and it writes smooth.
Things that absolutely piss me off about working in retail. Number one, I can't stand to see big groups of girls or boys walking into the store. If it's a group of guys, my coworkers and I immediately know that they're probably just there to make a mess or to voice their opinions on a level 10 for at least an hour. When it's a group of girls, I don't just mean a group of girls coming in for a shopping day. I mean the group of middle school girls that always seem to come in. They're always either super freaking loud, super messy, or super freaking ghetto. Why they're always screaming, I will never know. The next thing I hate, when people will use our fitting room and they will leave every single thing that they tried on the freaking floor, as if there isn't a go back rack literally 2 feet away from them. Another thing I can't stand is when someone will come up to me asking for help, but they clearly see that I'm in the middle of doing something with a different customer. It's different when they're asking for help for when I'm done, but I'm talking about the people that will get pissed at me just because I didn't go right away and leave the other person that I was helping. This one gets me every time. If you're gonna stand there and fight over who's gonna pay, please step aside so I can take somebody else while y'all decide. The next one doesn't bother me that much, but on the days when I'm really not feeling it and I really just want to go home, it pisses me off. People that will know that the store's closing in like 2 minutes, they will still walk through those doors. Hey, like our doors are still open, so technically yes, you can still come in. That's not the problem. The problem is when they take 20 extra minutes knowing that the store closed literally 20 minutes ago and then still take their sweet time looking through everything and then have the audacity to ask for the fitting room. Like, no babe, the fitting room's been closed. So have we, so like please get out. Next thing, which I know is bound to happen, but it still freaking pisses me off. When I just finished folding or hanging up something, someone will go and destroy it all within the next minute. It's fine whenever I don't notice. It's definitely not okay when I do notice, especially if the day is going by so slow. Like that honestly just makes me want to crawl into a hole. The last thing that really gets me, when somebody asks me to scan an item, they want to sit there and fight me about the price that it is. Get this? Because sometimes you really want something and you think it's one price and then it's not, so then it kind of just makes you mad. But majority of the time, it's literally just because they read the sign wrong. Like, girl, it is not my fault you can't read. That was all for this video. Let me know if you guys want a part 2 of this. Like, I have so many more. I love you guys, and don't forget that Jesus loves you too. Mwah. Bye, guys.
I literally cried and overcharged a customer about 3 times, okay? My first time working in retail was not good. I was 14 or 15 when I got my first ever job at TK Maxx, so it's a retail store, right? And I had been getting trained to just like restock and tidy up shelves, you know, very simple, easy things. I did that for a bunch of shifts because it's good when you first, you know, you get your first ever job, you need to learn how to actually work and how the store operates and how barcodes work in each category of each department, and that is a good thing, right? But after a couple of shifts, there was this one particular shift where it was really busy up at the registers, and I had like a little earpiece where you can like hear people and like talk to other co-workers, and they kept saying on the earpiece, we need someone to go on the register. So they were obviously really short-staffed and they needed more operators to check out customers, to pay for things, and to leave the store basically. So I'm working in the fitting room because that's all I've been trained pretty much to do, besides, you know, cleaning shelves on the floor. And this one girl who had been working there pretty much her whole entire life comes up to me like aggressively, and she's like, you need to go up to the register, they're calling for more people. And I'm like, I was crapping myself, by the way. I was like, I haven't been trained on registers. Like, I can go up there if you want me to, but I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't even have like a login code, right? Also, this girl was so rude to me for years. So if you see this, hi, I hope you're well, I hope you're okay, and I'm sending you so much love because you really need it. But this girl had been probably working there her whole entire life, so she was so aggressive, and she just thought that it was okay to speak to me like that. Mind you, I was 14, so at the time, I'm very quiet, I'm very scared, I cry very easily because, you know, it's my first job. I'm like, oh my god, like, it's scary. Anyway, so I went and told the manager because I was pretty upset. I was like, look, like, I don't know how to go on the registers. Can you train me because, like, people are getting angry at me? And he was like, that's not okay. Like, no, you're fine. But I was just like, I need to be trained because clearly you guys need more people on the registers and you've hired me, so train me. But obviously they want to ease you into it. There's like a whole process to it. But I was like, no, like, obviously people are not happy because I haven't been trained. So I don't want that to happen again because I basically just got yelled at by this other co-worker who's a casual, by the way. Like, what? Fast forwarding again, right? So a couple shifts later, I get trained. Finally, yay! Like, little me's being proactive. I got trained. I actually got trained for like maybe a couple hours with this really lovely girl, and it was really good, but mostly all the transactions were cash. So I was working a lot with cash, and it was different to like an FPOS payment. So I hadn't really experienced that, but I kind of knew the basics. I knew to scan the items. I knew how to count how many there were, total, bit of math. it was okay. Well, the next day I get put on the registers with a random worker who I don't really know, they don't really know me, and it was scary, okay? Like, let me tell you, if you've worked in retail, the first time you have to work on the register, like serving customers, and like when you're 14 and like you don't really have people skills and you're not, you know the vibes, it is very scary. I have one of my first proper customers, and it's a man who comes up with a fry pan and a t-shirt, and guys, I will never forget this. I remember it so clearly, so I know exactly what he wanted to buy because this story will stick with me forever. I'm making great conversation with this guy. I scan his items, he goes to pay, and I'm like, okay. And then the receipt doesn't print through after he's paid for it, but I didn't understand that the payment had actually gone through. Okay, stay with me. But I thought, weird. Okay, well, the payment hasn't gone through. Wrong. But I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have to put that through for you again. So I have to rescan his items all again, make him pay again, right? Receipt doesn't print out on the machine, does it? Right? Okay. So I did it to this man again. I went, oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to put it through for you again. Rescan the items, make him pay again. Guys, I can't believe I did this. Like, I feel so guilty. This poor man just wants his damn fry pan and t-shirt, and this girl is charging him like 3 times. But yes, the payments all did work. It was just the paper receipt roll needed to be changed because it was empty. It's kind of like a printer when it runs out of paper. You got to like change the receipt roll. I didn't know that. I never got told that. So those 3 payments all worked, and this came to like about $70. Imagine if this happened with a customer with a bigger transaction, like way more items. Oh. Now looking back, I'm like, come on, Island, how did you not realize? But I was 14 at the time. This was my first ever job. I had never worked a job in my life. I didn't know this is how things operated, okay? Like, I'm just a girl. Okay, so this man leaves the store and I see him walk in again, and I'm like, oh, he's got the items. He's got like all these like things. Like, what's he doing? I see him in the queue line, and when I go to call, I've just served this customer. He's next in line. So I'm like, okay, next, thank you. I see him, and he looks at me and he's like, no, I don't want to see you. I need to talk to someone else. And I was like, oh no, like that's the man that I served earlier. Like, what's he doing back here? So after I see this guy approaching the register, I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here. I go to the toilet. I'm like, oh my god, I need to hide. Like, I don't want anyone to know this is me. Anyways, I got called out back by the managers. Okay guys, they basically explained to me what happened, how I overcharged this guy like 3 times, and they showed me like how to change the receipt roll, and I was like, look, I honestly didn't get told. Like, I understand. And you guys, I cried so much, and I was like, okay, yeah. And then as soon as I walked out of the office, I was like, oh my god, and I just started blowing my eyes out. I went back onto the shop floor to like clean up like health and beauty aisles and like other things, and I was crying and I couldn't stop. And then they called me out the back again, and they were like, stop crying. And I was like, I can't, I feel so bad. It was honestly terrible. Like, 14-year-old me, what were you doing? Okay, I was so mortified, guys. I never wanted to be put back on the registers again. So if you ever think that your first time at a job, or like your ever first stuff up at a job is bad, just remind yourself of what I did when I was 14 at my first job, okay? And I hope that makes you feel better. And don't make the same mistake as me, okay guys? Make sure you change the receipt roll.